How dare you?
It is the love for me.
You see, he's not the first one to say that he's not going to resign. That's the first thing that we need to know as Kenyans. But then, this is a president who is bent on making sure that he impeaches his deputy. And he will impeach him. And it will be seen today. They will do everything. These people are not putting on reverse gears. Ni twende mbele, twende. And they are going to impeach him. So you refuse to resign, it's okay. But you know what? After you're impeached, you can't hold public office for the next 10 years. Mm. And I think he's so desperate to have this seat. Mpaka, we've seen council of elders, pastors have been sent, the clergy. He has sent some, even women are going out there speaking on his behalf. Then he's making an apology, he's begging the president. He really wants to be deputy president. I think it's so important to him. But I think we need to let the Rigiji know that he will be impeached. And once he's impeached, he's not going to be able to hold public office for the next 10 years.
So what was that thing yesterday? What was that 3-hour press call? What was it about?
It was about making me not have sleep, because yesterday I was made to sit in a TV station for very many hours and I never spoke. I just went home. I've watched him from home anyway. Yeah. I didn't like his blue tie. But having said that, what he needed to do, he did. Rigiji knew that there is the court, there is parliament, and then there is the court of public opinion. Mm-hmm. And Rigiji wants to win in the court of public opinion, and I think he's doing that. Because you see, in the court of public opinion, I can come and say that this hotel was sold, but I will not say it was sold to who. In the court of public opinion, see hotel iliuzwa, and they can discuss at Jabba base and have pity party on him and forgive him and say he's a good man. But in the court of law, then there is evidence, then there is support, then there is show document, and so on and so forth. So Rigiji wanted to win in the court of public opinion. He wanted that as you go to parliament today to discuss what is being discussed, he's already told Kenyans what he wants to be in the mind of Kenyans.
What Rigiji achieved, and I had said it before, is that he wants to control the public opinion, especially in Murima. And actually, yesterday he said he's not just Kikuyu, he's also half Meru. Yeah, his mother comes from Meru.
I learned that for the first time.
Yes. So it's not just, it is the whole Murima, both east and west. So don't say Kikuyu is your Meru. He has roots in Meru. And so he wants to control that, just like President Ruto is controlling parliament. In parliament, there will not be where's the evidence? Show me, Muntuso will not have to prove anything. That, Rigiji acquired this and acquired that. He will not need to prove. Parliament, his mind is already made up. Whether Rigiji goes there and presents a solid case and say what you are saying is not right, it won't change the opinion of the parliament. And so just as President William Ruto controls parliament, Rigiji also wants to control the Mulima.
But he said that during the Kibaki administration, when things were working, this is a deputy president who is saying that things are not working. Mm-hmm. And this is a deputy and he repeated that statement quite severally. He kept referring to him having done business when there was a proper government, when things were working. So he knows they don't constitute a good government, and he knows that things don't work under this administration. But he would rather die than not be DP. He would rather continue hanging on to that. But let me tell you, there was a time when we were, when advocates are litigators proper. And one of the things that my friends were suggesting in a group yesterday is that this impeachment, everything needs to happen on a Friday night. On a Friday night, the ones they finish at midnight.
Yeah.
And then the president pronounces a deputy in the course of the same Friday night, so that Parliament and Senate convenes on Saturday morning.
And they show up.
Yeah, now they're trying to prevent him from going to court. So if they were to do that and pass everything, okay, the law says within 60 days, but that means within, which means they can meet on Saturday morning, and by Saturday afternoon they've approved the new DP. Then call the CJ of Wild Goose Chase and tell her, let us appease the DP on Sunday. So what would happen is, if a new DP was sworn in on Sunday, then Rigiji goes to court on Monday. It would be very hard to unswear somebody who's been sworn in. So his case would cease to have to hold water.
Are you giving them ideas? Are you giving them suggestions?
I stopped. I don't like them being successful. So
I think Rigiji just knows that his savior are the courts. I think he knows that the motion is going to pass through the National Assembly very fast. I will not be surprised when Pokose Robert is the government yeye ndiye anashikilianga mambo ya government huko sana sana, atasimama na aseme I move that the mover be called to respond. And that
your MP Jeff will be saying, put the question. Put the question.
And then he asks, how do we vote? And then the thing is, this thing has just exposed the Kenya Kwanza government, and people have been praising President Ruto for being an astute politician, but this one just shows how poor a manager he is. Because if your deputy can come out and just antagonize you and tell something that is not right, okay, not right per se, but against what you are saying, when deputy president said he was told to go and supervise people's houses being demolished, and he said, no, that I can't do, that I will not do. And he said, if you want to impeach me on that, then go ahead and impeach me. The laws of power dictates that you either manage by fear or by respect. And actually, most leaders will tell you that managing by fear is much better than managing by respect. And so, this thing has exposed President Ruto as to how a poor manager he is. Because we never expected that this will happen in the first term of President Ruto's rule. At least, President Uhuru managed to go 5 years when they are working well, and most of us might start believing what President Uhuru was saying when he was saying his deputy is not a good man.
You see, none of us here, and I stand to be not corrected, none of us here has read the Kenya Kwanza or UDA manifesto for that matter. There was a manifesto that was the easiest in this country. It read Hatupangwingwi. Now, if you try to open that manifesto called Hatupangwingwi, it means it contains anything. And probably chapter 8 on page 7 or page 6 was impeachment of the deputy president. It was probably in that manifesto called Hatupangwingwi. And they are trying to implement it, and we are wondering what is wrong with them. They most probably are doing something that is in that Hatupangwingwi manifesto of theirs. So let us not be very harsh on them. They probably are doing something that they had envisioned.
It was part of the game plan.
Yeah, and they are surprised that we have a problem with them implementing their manifesto. This was a moribund government from the word go. Let them continue being moribund. And I'm happy that they are taking themselves to oblivion, pole.
Yeah.
In fact, even if we sat and did nothing now as opposition and just looked at them, they would finish one another on their own volition. So let us keep encouraging them. Once in a while we buy an energy drink, we give them. Once in a while we give them glucose, wanalamba, wanapata nguvu. Walimane too. Let them continue fighting. Ours is to spectate and to support them.
What if he's not impeached and goes back to work? How does that working relationship?
His goose is cooked actually, and the chungwa is eating it already. His goose is cooked. The only savior, and we saw his people even on Friday. There were frantic efforts to try and get those clips from each and every corner of the country just to show that the public participation was a shamble, and so I think he's building a case to go to the courts. I will be surprised if a motion is not ready there. A petition that is going to take to the courts, and so he's just going through the motion. He knows he's going. By the time he was speaking yesterday, he knew that his goose is cooked. By the time he's talking directly to the president and saying the president, this motion has the nod of the president, he knows. But it's going to be very difficult for those two to work together going forward. Which, however, even if the courts save him, it is going to be very, very difficult for Gachagua to continue being the deputy president. And if he is the deputy president, will just be a deputy president in name, but not in deed, because I don't expect that even President William Ruto is going to, if by any chance the courts say this thing you did was wrong, the process that was followed was wrong, so breaks on it, and then Gachagua continues to be the deputy president, it's going to be very difficult for him even to attend a cabinet meeting. Because how do you attend a cabinet meeting when you are not even wanted?
How do you get into State House?
How do you gain even the State House? And these things, na tunasema bwana, hata mtu alikuwa anasema walevi sio watu wabaya sana. You know, President Uhuru with his drunkenness, as we were being said, he never haikuwa ifika hapa na Ruto. Never. We were never told that Ruto never attended a cabinet meeting. He was attending paka last minute, despite the fact that alikuwa anaenda ana campaign from Monday to Monday, and then Tuesday he attends a cabinet meeting. Sasa mtu anauliza mbona Wakristo wanafikishana hapa?
These are good men who at first own no business, own no known enterprise, no factory, nothing. Then when they die, we hear about their will and the amount of wealth they leave. And some of it is just opulence, like that sentimental house we were told about in Mombasa, that house kept for sentimental value, to be remembering him, on 3.5 acres facing the beach.
3.5.
I think this is where sometimes, and people get me wrong when I say, I think we need to disband some of these counties. Because this is just pilferage of public resources. That someone automatically becomes wealthy because they've become governor. And there's no other explanation, there's no business they run, there's nothing. So we celebrate kind of the wrong people. And as you asked, does it run in the family? Yes, there's a lot of bossiness, there's a lot of, bravado. There's a lot of, there's nothing you can do. I am the boss. I'm the one who says, and I'm the one who speaks around here. And this is what this country does not need. What I have always told Kenyans, one of the things I am very happy about is the fact that Kenya Kwanza has gotten to a place where it has told itself, we guys are bad for this country. And it has started eating itself. And they mpaka wanajiambia na wewe si mzuri na wewe si mzuri. Wao wenyewe wameangalia, wameona hawafai wenyewe kwa wenyewe, and now they are fighting one another. It's a very good place, because we would have spent a lot of energy trying to show them that they are bad. But the fact that from inside they are seeing they are bad, and the fact that from inside they are fighting, is a very healthy thing for Kenyans.
The problem, Jeff, is that as much as we want the dirt of Kenya Kwanza to come out, I would want a recall motion on Ichungwa to come out. I would want to see how much he has acquired in the last, since he was the budget chair, now he's the majority leader. I would want to see how much Didmas has acquired so that he can buy a chopper in 2 years. I would want to see how much my uncle Wetangula has acquired in the last 2 years. He has been the speaker. We need those motions to come out. But the problem that we face as a country is that as they fight, nothing is happening. And the common man is the one that is suffering, because there's no policy that has come out that is going to improve the life of a common man. There's no, chief is in shambles, health sector is in shambles, education sector is in shambles, each and every agriculture is in shambles. Yet we are on autopilot. That's the only problem. And as much as for political expedience it could be right for Kenya Kwanza to fight and ban themselves from within, the fact is that when that happens, they are the people who are supposed to be ruling, and once that happens, then it means that we are not moving forward as a country. There's no money that is circulating in the economy, and maybe it is by design, like Fanyamambo says, it's part of the Atupangwingu manifesto, because once President William Ruto was quoted saying there will be no money to steal, because there's no money even to steal. The only few are stealing up there. And so the fact that they are running by confusion, they are managing by confusion, they are managing by reaction, they are managing by, there's no strategic plan that you can say that this is what I want us to achieve. Even the chief that we thought is going to change the health sector is in shambles.
It's a mess.
Is in a mess, actually. So which sector then is working?
Tell me
which
something.
sector is working, apart from not taking people outside Dubai to be, mboch and whatever?
The fact that this man has dominated the headlines the last 12 hours and will for the next 24 hours.
Yes.
What does that say? Are we bored? Are we just, as Kenyans, we have nothing else to do?
And that's the worry, that we focusing now on the impeachment, which any news media will focus on anyway. But what is happening underneath? What is happening to the Adani deal? Is JKI gone? What is happening to Ketraco? Is Ketraco gone?
Yeah.
What is happening to university funding model? What is up? All those important issues then are being swept under the rug because we have like mulikaed on the impeachment, as we should anyway. But now what things are happening underneath that we might not know. Maybe after impeachment utasikia hiyo deal ya Adani JKA ilikuwa signed kitambo. Ishaenda. Utasikia sijui tena kuna scandal ya mafuta tena edible oil sijui imekuja tena ikaenda. Such a things happen when we focus so much on and that's the problem again with our country.
When it comes to impeaching the deputy president, it is possible to plan public participation, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like very quickly. In fact, we just saw Bomas and Morara Kebaso is being beaten there.
By the way, public participation in 47 counties.
Yes.
And in fact, at some point, the court said it should be done in the 290 constituencies.
And they did it.
And Sunday, they appeared to do something that looked like it. Because the Dagoretti walileta to tents hapo kwa DO. And then kulikuwa tu kunapita wale Chokora and a few other guys there, bus. But it appeared to have happened in the 290 constituencies. But somehow they forgot. They forgot to do public participation on Adani. They forgot. It didn't happen. They just forgot.
By mistake.
They forgot. But they did not forget to do public participation in 290 constituencies within record time for the impeachment of Rigiji. And this is 230 billion worth of an airport deal. Schiff and Shah and whatever Shakahola Insurance Fund, they forgot to do public participation on that Shakahola Insurance thing.
Yeah.
They forgot. I think it was just, they forgot. Let's just say that. But they did not forget when it came to the impeachment of the deputy president. Why it's in the public limelight is because these people have things they think are important for them and things they think are not important for Kenyans. And we have also, as ourselves as Kenyans, tried to give more attention to his impeachment than to the Schiff, for example, where we are hearing 104 billion is going into a system. And for people who don't understand what 104 billion is, it costs us 27 billion to run the whole free primary education thing for 1 year. 27 billion. So it can run our free primary education for the next 5 years.
Nairobi Expressway costs 68 billion.
Imagine.
What these fools, and I call them fools on TV, are trying to steal through what they are calling a system, can educate our children in primary school for 5 years. It's very painful. 5 years. Munachukua watoto wote Kenya munasomesha. In fact, it is 17 billion. When you add high school, that's when it comes to 27. So pre-primary and high school, the total is 27.
So how many Nairobi hospitals can 104 billion build?
At least 10.
That's what we are saying. Some of these things are just when the more you think about it, the more you can be depressed actually, because it's not just right that money is being stolen and watu wanafura tu all of a sudden. A person who looked like me is now looking like Devin D. Because
in physical form, in
and you wonder, is it that they pray better? What happens? But the public participation actually exposed them also, because they thought people are going to sing hallelujah and say Rigiji must go, and you have brought us here now. Kenyans were telling them the truth. You are coming to us because you have a problem. You never come to us when we have our problems. You don't call us. And they were saying kufa dereva kufa makanga. Ukimwaga unga na mwaga mboga. And so it just exposed. And like Martha Karua was saying, it was a referendum on Kenya Kwanza as a government. And Kenya Kwanza as a government failed in that referendum. And Kenyans are tired of it. I think they underestimated the anger and the hunger that the Kenyans people are having. Because, after the Gen Z, they thought now they have brought in Baba in government, and so now things are okay. But when they went to the ground, people that have been whipped, people that have been brought in that meeting by the MPs, their own MPs, they are being paid with their own money. But they were coming and telling them, hapa mnatuchezea, we don't want. From Bomet to Kericho to Wasingishu to Bomas, the message was the same. Kufa makanga,
kufa dereva.
And actually at Bomas, there's something that we all must address ourselves to. When I saw members of parliament telling people to beat up Morara Kebaso. I met Morara yesterday. He's in a lot of pain. He struggled through an interview somewhere we were yesterday. And I must condemn elected members of parliament who were on camera and on record telling people to beat up that young man.
Really?
Yes, they were on camera and they're on record. I won't mention them today because I'll be advertising them for free, and they are horrible human beings and they know themselves. May they never know peace. May their children be beaten up when they grow up. I mean, I wish them all the bad things, because you cannot come to a place where... What is public participation? Public participation means I come and say what I want, and what I feel from my heart is what I want. So when someone comes and says kufa dereva kufa makanga, or when someone comes and says Ruto must go, and then you tell young people to beat him up, and shame on also those young people who were used to beat him up, because they are also foolish, and they are living in a country where that has been impoverished by the same people from whom they are taking instructions to beat people up. So we must condemn in the strongest words possible anything that happens that is an affront to the democracy and the justice that we have been fighting for as a country. What happened to Kebaso could have happened to any other Kenyans. And that's why we're saying let it not be allowed to continue. Members of parliament, you know yourselves. You should be thoroughly ashamed of yourself. And I want to plead on behalf of Kenyans who think right. Kama wewe ni constituent wa hao ma MP na munawajua wenye walifanya hivyo, please deny them your vote in 2027. I want you to help us in decampaigning those members of parliament, because that conduct is unacceptable. I mean, the least you can do. You can imagine if you had come to Bomas and say, what is your opinion? Some people say, kufa dereva kufa makanga. Others say Ruto must go. Others say Rigathi must go. Then everybody goes home. That is what it means to be a Kenyan. That you be heard and you will go home having been heard. But not because you've been heard, you'll be beaten. That should not be allowed. And those members of parliament, na waomba kama nyinyi munawajua, aki musijaribu kuwapigia kura. Those are not human beings we need in this country.
Obuya, bottom line, Abba has been conspicuously absent and very silent from all of this.
As he should. This is not his fight. This is not Baba's fight. Wacha Kenya kwanza wapigane. That's why hata huko Kisumu, huko Busia, even the public participation, it was calm. There were no those skirmishes here and there. People just came, and most hata kukuwa na microphone, you just come sign that thing, unapewa pesa yako yenye umekujia unaenda. Because you have to be paid to sign that thing anyway. And so it is not Baba's fight. Let him keep quiet. I was even surprised that TJ Kajwang was the one leading the public participation at Bomas. What for? Angeachia MP wa fanya mambo, KJ is the UDA member, and aongoze hiyo kitu.
Au MP wa Langata.
Ama MP wa Langata pia ni baba.
No, lakini
No. That is a UDA thing. They should have just left it for UDA to deal. Hata Ford Kenya tangu na atoke huko tu kabisa. Hii ni UDA. Hata kuvote, they will just say it is your skunk. If you are telling us we remove the skunk, we will vote. You pay.
Na ya leo?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Today there will be something. But like Fajamambo was saying, I think, Jeff, the biggest enemy that we are facing as a country is poverty. And I totally understand even that young man who was throwing the chair to Morara. Why? Because he was promised, I will give you 2,000. And because that 2,000
throwing a chair.
Yes, that 2,000 could be the difference between the family eating or sleeping hungry. And I think these politicians do this thing intentionally. They want to keep us beggars. They want to keep us going for bursary. They want to keep us going for, for those kitu kidogo ndio upige kura. They want to keep us hooked. And when you are hooked to those kitu kidogo, you can't leave that mentality.
Yeah.
And Kenya Kwanza as an administration, I think they have perfected the art of keeping us there, the art of begging, the art of hustler fund, the art, those small things that you get for free, and you say leo imepita tena kesho ni siku nyingine,
and you're hooked. Like drugs.
Going forward is going to be interesting. I think what we should be having conversations about is who is the next DP, because this is a foregone conclusion. He's going home.
Kalonzo Musyoka.
It's a possibility. It could go,
come on.
It could be. But,
yes.
But I've also had interesting suggestions.
Go on.
Which it's absurd. I've had the name Kabogo floated around. all over the place.
Or
And
the-
justifications that he would bring in 2 million Kiambu votes.
Or the Gishunge guy,
and
Gishunge, that Corona guy.
And I have Nani, yes, I've had Mutahi Kagwe's name.
Yes.
In the last
so
24
those-
hours.
The last
Yes.
24
And
hours.
even PK has been mentioned.
Also,
Yes, also.
Peter Kenneth.
Yeah, because the idea is to raise a big a name that will look like it's big in Mount Kenya, so that Rigiji is forgotten.
So it's Moi-esque. It's replacing one Mount Kenya with another Mount Kenya.
And that was what was Rigijo saying even yesterday, that they agreed with Ruto that when you replace one Mount Kenyan, replace him with another one. And he was saying Ruto does not seem to be following that gentleman's agreement.
Where did Kalonzo Musyoka come in?
No, there are people who are saying that President Ruto might just decide to forego the mountain and try to focus on the east,
rest.
on the east,
Yeah.
the Mount Kenya East,
Yeah.
and then now take the rest of the country, try to gain what Azimio was. Because when you are taking Kalonzo and you have Raila Odinga, then you already have the whole of Azimio brigade.
And
so-
one thing Kalonzo does that many politicians are not able to do, he's the one guy who promises you, I'll bring you all my votes, and he brings.
And he does.
Yeah, I don't know a person from his backyard who doesn't vote with him. So that's one guy who delivers. I'm telling you, if the Kamba votes were 5 million, he would deliver 5 million. If there were 7 million, he would deliver 7 million.
And he will
but
not
now
be-
he delivers what's available.